Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to GameKheyl. I'm Naveed, and today we are back with Game Gupshup. Just a little bit more. We had it the last time with one of the best FIFA players in Pakistan, and now we're doing it with a rising star, someone we've had here at GameKheyl before, and this is none other than Jay MMA. Sir, how are we doing today?
Man, I'm doing good. Glad to be back on the channel, man, and I'm, just ready to talk and have fun.
All right, so the way this concept of Game Gupshup works, I'm pretty sure this is new to a lot of the UFC fans that are here. We are going to play a few games, and we are going to chat our way as well. We are going to figure out what this man has been up to. So, unless you're living under a cave, you wouldn't know that there was an ESFL live that happened in Las Vegas a few days ago. Shout out to my man Romero for winning the whole thing. But I think that was a spectacle. We're going to talk about that. Also, there were a lot of things that were happening within the community in which our man ruffled a few feathers here and there. We are going to talk about that as well. And also just the general scene. ESBC, the last time we discussed it, the game is still not out yet. So what do his sources say? What are his thoughts on the game? And just everything else in the middle. Well, I try to beat his ass and he would be mine. It's 258 MS right now, so this is going to get extremely choppy at times. So first and foremost, again, this is something that I wanted to know even before we started the stream. So your experiences at the event, the ESFL live, can you just let us know your journey in that time? How you got there? What was the experience like, and towards the end, how was it?
Well, first off, it was like my first time like ever flying. Usually, like when I go on vacation, it's like I'm like all the way down south, so it's usually like Florida, like Atlanta, Texas, like places like driving distance. So like me flying, it was like my first time. For like the first few hours flying, I was cool, and then literally as we like landed in Vegas, I just like started like hurling for like no reason because I guess I got motion sickness. So that was pretty, exciting. And then just like leading up, meeting up with her. I believe that Saturday, it was that Saturday as well. Like everybody met up. So I don't know if anyone's been to Vegas, it's like that big roller coaster, right behind like this Hershey factory shop. We all met up. Z Hunter, Boiler, Luber, I believe Bang Bang was there. A lot of other people that was there, Dirty Dave, just pretty much not everyone, but the main people were there, and it was just fun just seeing those people for the first time. And Zach was pretty damn chill. Also, I will say this: Noetta, Kaya Noetta was, for him to even fly out 13 hours is pretty crazy. But he was probably like super freaking nice. I don't know why. I don't think I was expecting that. But usually every time I interact with like Noetta, it's usually like over like Twitter and stuff. And I just wasn't expecting him to be that nice. He was probably the nice. No, I'm not saying everybody wasn't nice, because pretty much everybody was respectful and nice. But he was probably like the chillest guy. Dark was telling me when he played them, like Noetta was like apologizing for doing stuff. He was like, "Sorry, man, I gotta go in. I'm sorry for this." It was like, oh man, that's just like something, super nice. But the day of the event, so Vegas is 2 hours behind on Central Time. So that's pretty much how I kept up with like the time on my end. So I woke up like 9 o'clock. I know all competitors had to be there at 10. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna just get there when the competitors get there, just so like I can, meet everybody and things like that. So I get there, and actually I walk up, and the guy, who's like checking tickets, so like checking entries or whatever, he's like, you need an entry, and basically I didn't know like spectators needed an entry or whatever. And then Zach, being the great guy he is, he's basically like, oh, no, I'll just give you a press pass. I was like, okay, that's cool, I feel special, I think I was the only guy there with that, so I don't know if I was, but I felt special with that. So just there, just like feeling everything out. The atmosphere there was crazy. There was actually a lot of people in the crowd. It was like a lot of people. So I believe EK Warrior had his family there. Swifty Tricks had some people there. I believe Sia Webcam had some of his family. and some of his friends there.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, it was like some other people. And also, I want to say this now before we get it out of the way. Dabikin's dad.
Yeah.
I talked to him for like a few minutes before the event started.
Mm-hmm.
This was probably the most wholesome thing I saw at the entire event. You know, in this day and age, a lot of, you know, parents, they're really not, you know, too hip or keen with their, you know, children trying to make either a living off of video games or playing video games in general.
That's true.
But just to see his dad, you know, their support, like he was like vividly support. Like when dad was fighting, because I was like all the way at the top, so I was above like where the seats were at.
Mm-hmm.
When he was fighting, I don't think I saw Dabikin's dad sit down one time. He was literally like standing up the whole time. He was like oohing and ahhing. I was like, that's just so cool to see. And yeah, the whole experience was just great. It was 12 hours, so I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty tired. But you know, the whole experience was great, and I was just happy that I was able to say that I was at the first ESFL event.
Yeah, I mean, with everyone that we have interacted, I think one of the best things that came out of this event was for a lot of people that were perhaps at odds with one another to actually be there face to face and really get to see them as people, because for the longest time you would have labels attached to someone. Like, there are a lot of characters in the community who would get a not so decent rep, but like you mentioned with sorry, I forgot the name, but the guy who traveled from Sweden.
Yeah, Noetta.
Yeah.
Noetta's he's always been just a nice guy, but I wasn't expecting him to be like that nice. Like that's probably one of the nicest people I've ever met. Like he's always been generally nice, but like he was like
another level
nice.
of
it
nice.
Just like it just caught me off guard. Yeah, it was just like another level. Yeah.
By the way, so I heard that things got a little emotional when Romero gave his winning speech, because again it was something that he felt very personally about, situation with his dad and everything else that went about. So what was the atmosphere like?
Yeah, just thinking about that now, I literally just got chills. So like when he said, I never forget. I mean, obviously it was just like 2 days ago, so obviously. He was like, he basically started it off. He started it off crazy. It was basically like, you know, for these competitors, it's just like, he was like, this is, you know, the best days of their life, but for me, it's just another Sunday. And when he said that, like, I looked around, a lot of people's faces was just like, oh my goodness, he just said that. You know, that's that's GOAT talk. You know, he has the right to talk like that. So I really wasn't like, oh my goodness, Romero said that. You know, he has the right to say that. But then when he just started talking about his dad, and I didn't know these, I don't think anyone knew this.
Yeah.
Maybe some people did, but I'm pretty sure for the most part, no one knew. And just for him to talk about, you know, how he talked to his dad, you know, the day before, the morning before, if I'm not wrong, about how his dad was like coughing and stuff. And, you know, bro, it was like a very, like when he was talking about that, it just like, me personally, it just like, it gave me goosebumps, man, you know, because I see Dab's dad is there supporting him. You know, you got, you know, Zayef's dad was, I believe Zayef's dad was there, if I'm not wrong. Not there at the event, but I believe he traveled with Zayef. I'm not wrong. I could be 100% wrong, but you know, having parents, you know, doing that for your parents, you know, through video games is something, you know, pretty crazy. And you just, you know, it was a crazy experience. That post-fight interview, though, it was just like electric. After, you know, he got past saying his dad, he was talking about how he works, you know, I believe he said 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then 4 to 9, and then after that, he's got to deal with wrestling.
Yeah.
He got to deal with training and things like that. It is something crazy that was said when me, Marshall, Pride, Darkside, and Romero were all like in the food court just talking. Marshall actually talked about how Romero ran 3 to 4 miles around the hotel like the day before.
Oh, wow.
So like that's like his work ethic is crazy, and with all these things going on in his life right now, for him to come out, fly to Vegas, and do what he did in the ESFL, you know, first ESFL event is crazy. So, you know, again, big ups to Romero.
Yeah, and you know, honestly, these are the kind of things that the community sorely needs, because for the most part, the community, and this is something that we discussed previously, the community gets a lot of bad rep. And when you have stories like this and experiences like this, you realize that maybe having more interaction between competitors from all over the world, so you have Suave Jamie coming in from Ireland. You had other guys coming in from all parts of US and Canada. So that was very, very refreshing to see. And I really
Yeah.
hope that refs from uh, I don't know which organizations were involved, but for the most part, like EA or UFC, they get to see this, and I hope they did. But so there's one thing that I wanted to talk to you about. So I remembered I had an interview with Romero, if I remember correctly, and I think there was something that went down between you and him with regards to your credentials as a jiu-jitsu practitioner, and because of that, there was a lot of heat that you received, and also
Yeah.
there was it was really refreshing to see you, Pry, Marshall, and him just in arms and looking like the true ambassadors of the community. So, how did you
Yeah.
guys reconcile? If you could share that with us.
So just to go over that whole thing. So basically, I joked about being a jiu-jitsu purple belt, and pretty much I had a lot of people on me, like a lot of jiu-jitsu practitioners that I like don't even interact with. They were like, saying stuff, but for the most part, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of DMs from jujitsu people that were like, they weren't like, they obviously were like disappointed and mad, but basically they were telling me like the extent of what I did. Because honestly, I did not, back looking at it now, I honestly didn't know
Mm-hmm.
like the extent of how serious the things like that are, and they were just like telling me and sending me down. Like, these are people that I never interacted with before, and they had a right to be mad, but for them to even take the time out of the day to DM me just to tell me what I went wrong is, pretty crazy. So, but basically, on my after that whole debacle went over, honestly, it passed. After 2 weeks, all of like the hate and stuff, it went away.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wasn't even too worried about getting quote unquote canceled. I mean, I really didn't care. Honestly speaking, I just don't like let those things worry about me. But the thing that I really took away from it is I had to look at myself
Mm-hmm.
and just see what I did wrong. And honestly, without that, I probably wouldn't be where I am. Honestly, like right now,
Mhm.
this year, my mindset, like after that, my mindset completely changed. But a few months ago, I believe in either like February or like March, if I'm not wrong. I basically just like hit up Romero. I was basically like, bruh, we may not, agree or like each other, bro, but I just want to let you know, bro, there's no hate, it's all love. And, we just reconciled there, we had, we threw a few jokes in there, here and whatnot. And then, obviously the event comes by, and then, like I said, Pride calls me. He's like, basically, I was in my hotel room, like, getting ready to pack. He's basically like, hey, bro, Romero, Marshall, we all about to meet you up in the food court. You coming? I was like, yeah, I'll come. Come down, whatever. And even in the event, me and Romero were talking. We were cracking jokes, just having a good time, things like that. But when we got in that food court, we were standing in the food court for, I didn't look at the time, but it had to be like a good 30 to 40 minutes just sitting there talking.
Mhm.
We're just basically talking about the event and things like that. But then, you know, we just started talking about the whole purple belt thing, and then Marshall said he had to say how he felt and things like that. And me and him talk, and then Romero was basically like, telling everybody, like, it's all good. Anytime somebody brings up that situation, it's just like, we're good. And basically, I said the same thing. We all crack jokes. Everybody was cracking jokes about the purple belt thing. So that was pretty funny. And then that's when we were talking about, how him and Z Hunter rolled. Then basically Marshall was like, I think it was either Marshall or Pride. It was like, come on, let's get a picture. And then Romero grabbed somebody, and then we just all took a picture, and then we parted ways. So that was pretty cool to, just to do that, to see like, hatchets buried between all of us. And just this event, this event gave me a whole new outlook on the community. Just, even Bang. I don't know if Bang wants to share, but when Bang came up to me and Pride, he's basically like, bro, it's all internet shit, bro. Like, I don't mean none of that shit, bro. I'm cool, this and that. Basically, let bygones be bygones, bro. He didn't have to do that. You know what I mean? He could have been still on the stuff, that he was on the internet, saying this, saying that. And for him to come out and do that, man, that means a lot. We like it, honestly, I never had any real like beef, quote unquote, with Bang as it was anyway. But for him to even do that, that meant a lot. Uh, the quote unquote beef that me and Zayev had. When Zayev lost to Dab, if I'm not wrong, I talked to Zayev for a little bit. So even then, like everybody who actually even like had any sort of animosity between each other, it was left at that event. So that was just pretty cool to see. I think that's the main thing I took away from that event. If we get more things like this, I believe a lot more toxicity will be out of the community.
That's true, and I mean, you never know for a fact that you're meeting people who share interests with you, and again, there are a few things that you may have differences on, but the problem with social media and too much of social media is that only that bit that you don't agree with gets more highlighted than the other things. So let's assume if you have a friend in real life and they disagree with you on something. I mean, you're gonna move past it. You're not gonna judge them for that one particular instant. But I believe, like you mentioned, it's important to have these events happening more frequently, because when you have that dialogue and when you see people, and it's very refreshing to hear that you and what Bane did. Again, shout out to my friend Bane there as well. So it's very good to hear stories like this coming out. And again, I think we're probably going to have our next GameKheyl session with Romero. So I'm pretty sure he's going to have his own takes on these things as well. Speaking of your daily endeavors, you are running a very, very successful YouTube channel. Now, last time we did the stream, you had 400 subscribers. You're now at around 2,000 or over 2,000 now, I guess. So
yeah.
So firstly, congratulations on that, and secondly, what are you doing? Well, what's working for you?
Yeah. Last time we talked, I was like at 4. I was like, I can't even remember. I think I was like at 450 or something like that. That was around the time Marshall did that video on me. I remember that. But since then, honestly, I've been doing pretty good. I probably say, like, my growth in the community has been pretty good, honestly, considering how little viewership the game gets.
That's true.
I've been like doing real good in my standards. My click-through rate and my watch time has been like through the roof. I've been dwelling in other like MMA related videos outside of like UFC 4. Just feel like my creative mind can kind of like go past UFC 4, and the game kind of like you can only do so much with the game as far as like creativeness. So I just feel like doing the type of videos that I'm doing now, like video essays and things like that. I kind of been having fun doing those, but honestly, I looked at the community and I was like, what more, can I do to, help the community grow and help, players do and things like that. And so basically, I started a media channel for esports, just like Combat Esports.
Yeah.
I started it. It was the end of like April. I started it. Like the middle of May. I can't remember. It may be the end of April. And like I've. Like that's grown like tremendously in a short amount of time, and I believe like we have like 100 and something subs in like less than a month, so that's pretty crazy in itself. But honestly, I've just been trying to really focusing and honing on my content creating. I've been growing at a real steady pace. I say I'm proud of what I've been doing. Just to even, be in a position I am, very thankful and grateful, because, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. After that whole Romero thing, I know I said like I wasn't really too worried about being canceled and things like that, but honestly, I went through like my own, like trying to find myself and trying to, get my mind together. I wouldn't say that it was like depression, but it was kind of like. It's like some days I was like just like yeah I was just like real, it was just like a self-evaluation. I was just like real down on myself. I was just disappointed, I'll say that, in myself for the things I did. And honestly, I want to I thank Romero in person, but I kind of want to thank him again, because if he didn't hold me accountable for what I did, and many others, people like Marshall, even Pride, and that's why I surround the people that I surround myself with. Because they weren't, obviously, I wouldn't say they were just like quote unquote on my side, but obviously, they're gonna like be with me, but they, they held me, accountable. They were like, all right, you shouldn't have did that. You shouldn't have did this, and that was just real cool to see. And you just, hear, but honestly, without that, I probably wouldn't have the mindset that I have now. I'm obviously partnered on YouTube and things like that. I've been trying to stream a lot more than I have, but I just really want to focus on content creation. And yeah, I've been doing pretty good. To see, that, like, now that you brought that up, I'm thinking about it. It's pretty crazy. In August, I wasn't even at 1,000 subs, and now we're about to hit June, and almost, about to hit, 2,100 subs. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
A lot of guys in this community really don't even get to reach that. Not to bag on anyone or anything like that. It's just that, I bring something that many people don't bring. That's, just me being open and raw, me being entertaining. I might pause. I might not be the best at the game, but I do bring a certain level of entertainment that a lot of people enjoy seeing. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, man, I've been having fun in this journey so far. For me to be at a ESFL event and pretty much everybody knows who I am, I feel like that's an accomplishment in itself. So I'm happy where I'm at right now, but I just want to continue to grow. And obviously, I want to get on to that level of where everyone knows my name. You know what I mean? A level where Marshall Mine, a level where Priox is, a level where Romero and these other pillars of the community, Go 1099 and things like that. So I obviously want to get to where they're at. Those are the guys that I, even when we were going through what we went through with the whole purple belt thing, I was still looking up to those guys. So it's going to continue, and I just want to continue to grow and get there. And Crix 209 as well. He's been like someone who, like, I've been confided in. He's been giving me advice and just helping me along the way. So. Yeah, man, that's where I'm at right now so far.
Yeah, so everyone that you've mentioned so far has been a guest on GameKheyl besides Marshall. So Marshall, if you're watching this, be a guest. Anyways, also, by the way, so far we have ignored one thing completely, or gameplay so far. So what do you think is happening?
Right now, honestly, I haven't really been I've just been in autopilot mode, but I've just been throwing a lot of feints and just been trying to get head kick KOs. Honestly, that's really what I've been trying to do. I'm trying to throw a lot of push kicks. A lot of people, when I use John Jones, I get this a lot. I throw a lot of side kicks. I've really been trying to throw keep distance and pick people apart. I've been trying to reinvent my game lately. And sometimes it comes out as knees, and a lot of people like to say I'm a knee spammer. I've been getting that a lot. I just want you to know that I'm not a knee spammer. I just like throwing side kicks. So right now, you like that last fight. I do remember you were doing real good. So I'm trash at this game. So,
well, I have only hit Division 20 last season. In fact, two seasons. Oh, nice. I did not expect that. So I wish to play this game more often, but so the problem is I have a lot of other interests as well. So before we were talking, I was playing FIFA with one of the best Pakistani players right now. Shout out to Mr. Daniel Munir. So there are two Daniels from the same team. So yeah, I have to get the name correct. So I did the first one with him, and that's going to be out soon. This is going to be out right after that. So another thing that I wanted to touch upon, and again, it's something that you've followed very, very closely, and that is ESBC. Now, since the last time we talked, I thought we were a little skeptical about when the game's coming out. So we've gotten a lot of updates. Thankfully, recently they've become more concrete. But as of now, there may not be a clear indication of when the game will be out. Now, in your expert opinion and with everyone that you're connected with, what do you think is happening, and how soon can we expect the game to be out?
I've been seeing a lot of people just take the opportunity to say things like the game is taking too long. If you've been actually honestly, a quick Google search will honestly just show how false that statement, how dumb that statement sounds. The game has only been in development for 2.5 years, since late 2018, so it hasn't even been that long.
Uh-huh.
And the second thing is, they're an independent indie company that's getting, a tremendous amount of funding. So that obviously with the more funding they get, the further back the game is going to get pushed because the more things they get to tweak and work on.
That's true.
But honestly, I will say that last footage I did not enjoy. When they said creator event and footage, I thought they were going to show the actual footage from the creator event. I talked with this about I'm a Boxer. Shout out to I'm a Boxer. I talked with him about this for like a good bit on Saturday when we all like meeting with each other. Honestly, I didn't like that they did that. So from what I was told, it wasn't footage from the actual event. It's footage from a dev playing the game. So obviously you're not gonna see people throwing jabs, being technical, setting things up. It was just a lot of like hooks and uppercuts and things like that. And obviously the game so a lot of people don't know this as well. The footage, well, the build, I should say, that the creators played at the creator event wasn't the current build that they have now. So the build that they have now, from what I was told, a lot of things that people complained about at the creator event has already been fixed. Which is pretty crazy. But that wasn't even the build that we haven't even seen. The creators didn't even get to play. It's the build that we've been seeing for quite a bit. But I honestly, from what they've been showing us, I like the route where they're going. They're not caving into anything. I will say this. A lot of companies wouldn't, the reception that they've been getting from fans, a lot of companies will probably just cave in. But ESBC has been pretty, I probably say stagnant on what they want to do and how they want to release footage and things like that. Ash Habib, shout out to Ash, the owner of ESBC, just did a roundtable with Ty Grisham, and he talked about, the backlash and just the creator event and things like that. So that was pretty refreshing to see him talk about that. But he also mentioned that our early access will be coming, and honestly, I've talked to this with other creators. I think we've all had the same idea that it's only the right thing to think that the early access should be coming this year. You just don't bring up early access and it's not right around the corner. You're not just gonna say, oh yeah, well, we're doing early access, but in 3 years. Like, no, it has to be like super close to where they're gonna do early access, and we're all inclined to think this year. So that should be something everybody should keep an eye out on for. But you just have to remember, man, like, we've waited 10 years, almost 12 years for Fight Night, another Fight Night game, and that hasn't come out yet. And we get this game that's on the new kid on the block. A lot of people just ripping it and doing things like that. So I just say, I know this is pretty cliche, but stay patient. And just keep looking at the game. Build your own perspective of what you think the game is. Don't just sit there and watch what I say or what Boxing Fanatical or Juice or someone else say. Build your own opinion on the game first, and then I would say, go watch other creators outside of myself, like the guys I mentioned, Fanatical, Study, Juice, Coach's Corner, Concept Briefs, and those guys, and then you can formulate, a valid opinion. You can argue and things like that. But just don't go watch someone's video and be like, all right, he's hating on the game, so I'm gonna hate on the game. Don't do that, because then you do that, you make a YouTube channel, you blow up, and then a lot of fans get the wrong idea, and you don't want that. So I'd say, build your own opinion first, but it looks like they're trending in the right direction. I hope they keep doing what they're doing by, they're listening to what we have to say. A lot of people think, I've seen a lot of UFC 4 guys talk about how, oh my goodness, this looks trash, and they've been working on the game 2.5 years, and it looks the same. Again, a quick YouTube Google search will show you how completely false that statement is, because if you go look at the footage that we got in 2021, which was last year, like last April, and the footage now, it's like tomatoes to freaking cheese. You know what I mean? It's two different things. So honestly, like, I'm glad they're doing what they're doing. They've pretty much been staying under the rug. I know they used to do like monthly updates, and I was one of the people that were glad they stopped doing that, because the monthly updates, there's only so much you can update, people on, and the monthly updates, they just were updating us on stuff that we really didn't care about, or stuff they did that they didn't need to update us on. So I'm glad they're not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
When ESBC does say something, it's something with substance, something with a little weight to it, like our early access mentioned, like the footage they drop, like the creator event and things like that. So I just hope they continue to do that. It seems like they're probably never going to cave into like fan reception and things like that. So glad to see that as well. But yeah, man, only it looks pretty bright for ESBC, going forward.
There's this thing that you mentioned earlier, and that is you being finding more creative outlets to really share your passion of combat sports, combat esports. And recently you've been doing a lot of interviews. I seen that on this new channel of yours you've done an interview with Go 1099 as well. So how did you really get into creating content in that particular for that particular niche, so to say? And yeah, so
yeah,
firstly that.
so shout out to Cody Dank, because another one of my good friends in the community. Basically, this is really how that channel started, which is pretty crazy. I was joking around. I was like, bruh, somebody just needs to start like a media channel for like the community, like doing interviews and stuff. That'd be real cool. Nobody else has done that. And I was like, if somebody wants to do that, y'all better go do it now before someone takes the idea. And, me and Cody were laughing. And then like after, I finished talking to Cody, I was like, wait, hold on. Wait, I need to do that. So I hit up D.A.R.K, another good, that's my guy, my brother. I basically hit him, but it was like, let's do this, bro. I made the logo, I made banners. I was like, bro, let's do this. He was like, all right, we can do it. And ever since then we've been doing pretty good. Yeah, like you say, recently got the interview with Goat, and what is pretty crazy is that's Goat's first interview. Wow. So for us to even get an interview with Goat and it'd be his first time, that's pretty crazy. Mm-hmm. And like I said, we've been doing real good. Honestly, I didn't expect it to grow this fast, because it's been growing pretty rapidly. And Zach, again, shout out to Z Hunter. He actually thanked me and D.A.R.K for being there. Because honestly, that's really what I flew out. I'm not gonna say that's what I flew out there for, but that was one of the main things I flew out there. In my mind, I wanted to interview, get live interviews over competing. I really didn't even care too much about competing. So you can say that was one of the reasons why I went to that event, and for him to thank me for that meant a lot. But we just been doing good. I expect us to grow tremendously when ESBC and UFC 5 comes out. The same with my own channel and many other creators. So it's been pretty cool, and I'm liking the way we're going.
And by the way, on that subject, we've been in touch with Go 1099 as well, and I think right before he did your interview, he got in touch with us and he said that he is now finally open to media. So I'm glad that for something that is close to the community, you guys are doing something, because this is, I think, I'm not sure if you're familiar with another organization, Esports Fight Network, or Esports Fight News.
Yeah.
So I think they tried to do something similar, but I think you guys have really pinned it down to specifics as to what you need to cover.
Yeah, so I like you said, those guys did a great job, but not to bag on them or anything, because I know the guys who run that. Mm-hmm. And I think I just wanted to bring something like I said, fresh, and something that's never been seen. I don't like doing what other people do. That's really one of the main things I do not like doing. Mm-hmm. It's pretty hard to do in this niche of content with UFC 4. Everybody's gonna do showcases on certain fighters. Everybody's gonna do the same challenge videos. Mm-hmm. Everybody's gonna it tends to get repetitive with a lot of creators, but in this niche with journalism and broadcasting, I feel like there's so much more you can do. And once I started my channel, a lot of people actually said that. It was like, are you aware of this channel? And at first I was like, no, but then I saw that Twitter. I was like, oh wait, hold on, I know who those guys are. And I was like, all right, what have they done that we haven't done? Mm-hmm. And pretty much everything that we do, they haven't done. Yeah. And that's not to be disrespectful towards them. It's just I don't like doing what other people do. They're pretty much, they stay on Twitter. They update the Twitter. The people that are on Twitter. But we wanted to branch out. Me and D.A.R.K, we wanted to branch out onto YouTube as well. And our YouTube content is totally different from the Twitter content. So basically on YouTube, we're doing interviews, we're doing breakdowns, You know, we do highlight videos. We recap big events, big fights, things like that. And on Twitter, we're pretty much just interacting with people. You know, getting what fans think. You know, talking about UFC 4 updates and things like that. So it's pretty much the best of both worlds on 2 different platforms. And like again, I'm happy where we are so far, and we can only grow.
That's amazing to know. A little bit of focus back on the fight. You have absolutely drained my stamina, but I think I have a knockdown on you this round, or maybe in the last one.
I would say this, man. I honestly, a lot of people like make fun of me, and it is honestly funny. They talk about how patient I fight and how like I don't like draining stamina, because I don't. And I can attest this to like me, like learning how to fight with John Jones. I realized that he has a lot of cardio, and I would just go out there, balls to the wall, and just like dump stam. I just learned how to control it a lot better. I could probably say my output could be a little bit faster, and my defense could be a little bit better. But honestly, I like my play style so far. Hopefully, in the future I can compete in an event. That'd be cool. But yeah, that'd be cool to see. Yeah, that was nice.
I like the way you're setting kicks up, because for most part I can't tell if it's coming to the body or to the head.
But I want to say this, because I know you're probably not gonna bring it up. I want to talk about that Nas guy, since we're on the topic. I want to say what I have to say, because this is the only time I'm gonna bring up that fucking clown.
Who? Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Who? I just want to say this. If you're watching, if you know who the fuck I'm talking about. I said something on Twitter. Pride did, and he had a lot of things to say about the event. I just want to say this. Nas is a grown-ass man, and he's trolling and doing all these things. He's a grown-ass man with a full beard, and he's trolling like he's a 12-year-old. I just want to say this. People like Nas are the reason why the community, it is the way it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, having these live events is so important. Because I promise you, in real life, most of them, I'm more than sure people like him aren't going to be on that type of time. He's talking about how he wanted the event to be more toxic, and he wanted more fights and things like that, and that's just so fucking, that's a childish ass mindset to have. Goat 1099 actually beat him in ESFL. Actually, that's how Goat got back into compete in the ESFL.
Mm-hmm.
He was basically disrespecting a lot of the older fighters, and Goat basically came and said what he said. Goat was like, I want to fight you. That fight happened, and Goat pretty much beat him in every aspect. Mm-hmm. And he's kind of surprising, because he got pretty much embarrassed in that fight, and he still finds the way to talk. But I just want to say this to him. Having that mindset, bruh, and just walking around and being like clout chasing, that's not the way to go about building your name and building your brand, honestly. Because people are not going to know you as Nas. They're just going to know you as a fucking clown and a troll. And that's one of the main things I realized with the whole Romero fiasco thing. Again, he held me accountable, and I had to start holding myself accountable for some of the stuff I was saying.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I just really hope this dude learns that like going that route about things, that really isn't the way to go about it. So hopefully he gets his mindset together. Again, he's a grown ass man, so if he doesn't want to fucking listen to this, then so be it. I don't give a fuck. But bro, hopefully you get your mindset together, bro, because you got a good platform, bro. I hope you fucking realize that. But you continuously, trying to troll and talk down on people, you're not gonna be accepted by fucking anybody in the community. In the community of like UFC 4, maybe like casuals and things like that, because they're not in the community. So, they're not going to know, like, shit that you're pulling off on Twitter and things like that. But I just hope you learn that, bro. You start holding yourself accountable for some of the things you say. You're talking about people's moms. You're stealing other people's content and things like that. And, I just want to say this to you. Those dudes that's in your camp right now, some of those dudes was talking shit about you and talking behind your back, and now they're running to your camp trying to be in your camp. So I hope you realize that they don't give a fuck about you. They see the clout that you have, and they just want to ride upon that. I hope you realize that. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about it.
Well, Honestly, I didn't know who he was, so I'll probably look up who this.
You're probably gonna know who he is. He's the guy that stole Zayev's logo. So
Okay,
basically, he got
okay, I
Zayev's
got it.
logo. Yeah, him.
Say no
Yeah,
more.
yeah, him. Yeah, and he just flipped it. That's pretty. I'm not gonna lie. That's actually funny, but that's pretty fucked up that he actually did it. But yeah, that's who that is.
See, for me, it's all fun in games till it's not spiteful and hateful towards someone. I mean, at the end of the day, if there's something happening in the community, if you don't have anything nice to say, just shut up. Like, you don't have to spew opinions on everything that's going on. Sometimes just let things be. There will be things happening all over the world that you don't agree with, but I don't think everyone has the time or energy to have a comment or say their piece on it. Unless you think that you're getting clout or some sort of following by sharing unpopular opinions. I mean, sure, that's the way to go. But the problem is, it gets boring very, very quickly and very, very fast. So it's not going to keep you relevant, because after a while, people will just realize that all you're trying to do is try to seek validation and attention. And after a while, that is just pretty, for the lack of a better term, that's just very, very uncool.
Exactly. And again, that event, I just feel like the event is gonna, like more events like ESFL Live in Vegas is gonna nullify a lot of those trolls and things like that, because people are gonna realize you just can't just say shit like that. And honestly, a lot of people could have walked up to some people in that event and been like, "Hey, bro, the things you said, I really didn't like that." But we're all fucking adults. We all are mature. We know right from wrong. Doing that would have pretty much destroyed the event. That pretty much would have ruined the event and all the whole work. Luber and Boiler and Z Hunter and Grabzilla or aka EK Bossman.
Mhm.
I know those guys, the work that they've put in, and the rest of the ESFL staff, doing things like that would have prohibited, from the community for having such a great event.
Mhm.
And I think going forward, I just hope they have more events like this, just so people can realize that like trolling, like they're just such they're for lack of a better term, they're just such a childish way to go about things. This is a small community and we can grow. And I want to say this, and I don't want to speak for the ESFL or Z Hunter or any of those guys, but I'm pretty sure one of the main reasons the UFC, I'm sure they know of the ESFL, they know, but I'm pretty sure they look at that Twitch chat. I was informed that the Twitch chat was pretty toxic, as it always is. They look at that Twitch chat of some of the grown-ass men that are in that chat, I'm 21. I just turned 21, so some of the men that are way older than me with kids and families, and they got bills and other real-life problems, they're sitting in that chat and saying some of the stuff that they're saying, and you wonder why the community and the ESFL is not getting recognized. Is because one of the main reasons is probably because of that. So hopefully, this trolling shit, it just stops, because honestly I'm tired of it. I'm tired of seeing it. You got people like Young Po like talking about people's wives and calling them fat and shit like that. Like, that's not troll. You can't call stuff like that banter, because when somebody decides, God forbid it happens, somebody come beat you to a pulp to where you're in the hospital.
Are you saying?
Now you're wondering.
No, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying, did Young Po say it in the chat, or someone said it to Young Po?
No. So on Twitter a few weeks ago, if I'm not wrong, Young Po basically said something about Crooks's girlfriend.
Okay.
Basically, we were talking about like calling him fat and stuff. So I just wanted to say like that level of trolling, like that gets you nowhere. Like people are gonna know you more for the trolling than actually being you. So I just hope all the trolling community just stop doing what they're doing, so the community can grow. Because at the end of the day, I may have my takes on like what the community, the state of it and things like that. I want the community to grow, because there's a lot of great players like Suave Jamie, like Romero, like Zayev, like Dab, like Cry, like Marshall, like myself as creators and competitors, that really don't have the platform. They have the platform, but it can be taken to a whole nother level if the UFC and UFC 4 recognize doing what they're doing. But you're never gonna get to that level if you have people like Poe and Nas and other trolls, doing and saying stuff like that. I just think it's pretty childish. You just gotta look at it, as you want the community to grow.
And by the way, beautiful combination to end that sentence. So here's what I've been able to gather in my inexperienced opinion, so to say. Like, I think I had this conversation with Zayaf when I interviewed him, and he was one of the mods when UFC esports was happening. So I think for him, one of the biggest red flags was the fact that EA would look at the community and kind of gauge how the community responded to events like this. And when you have people talking just vile and absurd things about the game and about developers, about each other, more or less, it just does. I don't think there's anything great that comes out of it, honestly. Like, I mean, for the time being, you'll come across as cool and funny, but in hindsight, you possibly have destroyed lots of opportunities for other content creators and gamers and streamers to then amplify the impact of these events. And unfortunately, I don't think there's a lot of content creators out there. And shout out to you for creating a platform like this where you can see coverage of online and offline esports, combat esports events. So since we don't have that and anyone covering those events, the only thing that EA is going to notice is the live feedback. And if that live feedback is going to be constantly rooted in all sorts of like violent, toxic stuff in it, then that's the perception that they're going to take away. And then I don't think that's something that a corporation, a multi-billion-dollar corporation like UFC or EA would want to invest in.
Yeah, exactly, and that's a great point you mentioned. How can they invest time and efforts into what the ESFL is trying to build if the competitors or like the viewers of the ESFL is pretty much shitting on the product? Now, I'm not gonna say that you can't have criticisms of the product, because you can, because I love what ESBC is doing, but I've had a lot of criticism for that game. So it's not completely out of the realm of possibilities to not have criticism for a game that you like or love, or that you hate, or things like that. You can always have criticism, but you got to think about it as you're pretty much hindering a lot of things from happening. Like, for example, like I mentioned with the other clown that I mentioned not too long ago, if someone goes to the event and gets into a fight and Z Hunter or a Lube or a Boiler's like, okay, the event is off, that's content that I lost, because I wasn't the only person there vlogging and taking pictures and things like that. That's content I wouldn't have a vlog. Probably wouldn't have a vlog. Romero probably wouldn't have got that belt. The shout against a Sports Illustrated, the Sports Illustrated prospect representative. He probably would have been like, all right, if the ESFL, if they ever contact us again, or like whoever recommended the ESFL, I don't want to work with them anymore because look how toxic this is. Mm-hmm. Things like that, bro. Like, you just can't. You're hindering a lot of things from happening, and you can't sit back and wonder why the community is not growing or why it's not reaching its full potential, and then sit in Twitch chats or sit online and do things like that. It's not the way to go about it.
What happened?
Okay.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
But I wanna say one more thing just about that whole event. I'm just real grateful, that I was obviously to go there, but I'm grateful that I met everyone. I was able to speak to everyone. A lot of hatchets were able to be buried. Honestly, I would have never thought that I'd be at a damn esports event, taking pictures with Romero and Marshall, everybody just being on great terms. I never would have thought of that in December or at the beginning of this year, but here we are. Mm-hmm. I just think everyone at that event realized it's bigger than just us, and just trying to troll and things like that. They got, oh my goodness, they got great people working behind the scenes, taking time away from their families and things like that, to build upon something that you can build a platform and a brand off of, and yet here you are basically destroying that, or hindering that from happening. So I just want to publicly thank the ESFL, Z Hunter, Luber, Boiler, EK Boss, man, everybody that worked behind the scenes, all the ESFL staff, all the competitors, and everybody that I met and talked to. I just want to thank y'all, man, for putting on a great event. Just making the atmosphere the way that it felt. Because honestly, without y'all, man, that atmosphere and that event probably wouldn't have been, what it was. So I
No, it's again. I think the more we recognize the effort that these guys have put in, I think the more they deserve it. Because with guys like Z Hunter, with Luber, Boiler, Bossman, and many others, even the hosts that we had for the event, the casters, um, Bruce Lee, Rob, I'm a boxer. We had Marshall, we had Bane, we had Balian. All of these guys. I think
Yeah.
everyone who's taken out the time to do this. Again, I hope these guys have gotten paid for this because um, I think they deserve to be paid for this. The kind of effort and the dedication that they put into this, and essentially building this up from scratch. And one of the proudest moments for me personally, even though I have absolutely nothing to do with this and just being a part of this community, was looking at the stream numbers. We had over 500 people watching on Twitch and another 4 or 500 on YouTube. So that's like 1,000 people watching simultaneously, and the chat was just
Yeah.
absolutely blowing up. Everyone, like, I think there were a lot of players that people were not familiar with, and they became pretty known to them. Like, people were having their own analysis, and that was very refreshing to see. And usually when you're looking at the chat, it's like this is going to happen, that's going to happen, and I understand there's going to be a certain level of banter, but there was a lot more positive that came out of this. Like, I think while Jamie versus Zayaf earlier, and then Dabikan versus Romero, the chat was just going nuts. It could have gone either way with Zayaf and uh, with Jamie, but I think what what really inspired me was the fact that these people were actually, for the lack of a better term again, were treated like celebrities. Like, they were on a higher pedestal, they were on a stage, and they were performers. And
Hmm.
for people, and I think what really nailed it on the head was again the closing that was done by Romero, and a big shout out to Bane, because I think the electricity that he was able to bring to that closing ceremony was outstanding. So
Hmm. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I believe you being in that place again, you experienced the event in person, but as someone looking in from the outside, I think it was a spectacle to behold, and I really, really hope the guys from again, I'm not sure who those partners were. If I get them, I would get them right in the video as well. I hope they're encouraged and inspired to do more events with the likes of these guys. Um, so I think that's pretty much it with that. But I think there's another thing that we discussed. I'm not sure if you're doing this anymore or not, for the lack of my research. And that was the ESBC roundtable. I think you had guys like, I think you had Juice, you had yourself, you had TMI Pressy.
TMA Percy and Pride, and then S. V. He High. Honestly, that's honestly a great thing. So when ESBC went through that whole dry spell of not dropping information, I think a lot of us were just like, there's really no point in the ESBC roundtable right now. And I think once they did start dropping, content and things like that on it, I don't think we just ever got back to it. And then, everybody has their own things to deal with. Everybody has, everybody's a content creator, so they have their own content to make. So I just don't think the times never really match right. But I'm pretty sure once ESBC starts back up, with the consistent news, and when the early access drops and things like that, I'm pretty sure we're gonna be doing an ESBC roundtable again, because that's another great thing that we had going. So I'm pretty optimistic on what that holds, because that does have a lot of potential into what we can do with that community. And being at the ESFL event, there's just one thing that was at the back of my mind as well, is that if the ESFL is doing this, and they pretty much built this from the ground up, imagine what ESBC can do with all the investors and all the resources they have with the live event. That would be pretty crazy. So I'm just pretty thankful. Honestly, I talked to Juice. I actually interviewed Juice not too long ago, and we chatted it up for a little bit. So, only the future can tell. What's next. I gotta pull that. But only the future can tell what's next with that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you may have put it on the ice for now, and if you ask me, I think it was the right decision given there was not a lot to discuss. But once that game is out, I think there's just bags of potential, especially with the fact that there is a lot of rich interest in boxing. I think a lot of people would want to pay and see good competitors playing with playing the real sweet science and using their minds to. Ooh, I did not expect that combination to work, but yeah. So I really hope that this game gets the kind of attention that the likes of what we thought UFC 4 was going to get. I don't know where it. I'm not sure, but I think it kind of has under delivered on the promise that the community as a whole had. UFC 4, that is. But again, I think UFC 4 or the developers here at UFC may have recognized that. And with my chat with Bailey, and I think that's one thing that he said, that the developers are not sending in more updates when it comes to the game because now they're completely focused on the next installment. They're going to use a new engine. So there's again a lot of there's an element of mystery, just like ESBC, as to how the new UFC game is going to be. But whatever it is, I think we are all just starved for a new game, to be honest. Because I don't know, it's been almost 2 years now since this game has come out.
Yeah, it's been almost 2 years, and they're talking about, a 2023 release. As a content creator, obviously I would want the game to come out now so I can make content. But if they're gonna actually work on the game and make UFC 5 the best game in the franchise, and I'm all for waiting. But if UFC 5 comes out, next year and it's the same game as this one, I'm gonna be highly disappointed because you basically could have just released it this year, give us the same product, and just got it out of the way. Because ultimately, what those guys over there want to work on is Fight Night. That's the cash cow. That's what's gonna bring in the most money for that studio right now as far as combat sports in general. So obviously they want to work on that. But if you're gonna put that on a back burner to give us a great product, then I'm all for it. But just don't see UFC 4 like the UFC franchise as basically like a quick cash grab, because there's actually genuine fans that support this, and you're just sitting there playing around with it. It's pretty disrespectful to content creators and everybody who buys the game and plays it.
I'm not sure who I was having this discussion with, but one of the weird inputs that I was able to get was, in fact, one of the most surprising aspects was that there are in terms of revenue, where does EA UFC stand when it comes to EA Sports games? Like, number one, we all know would probably be a FIFA game, but do you know where UFC ranks?
I believe UFC 4. The UFC franchise, I believe it's like, because EA has a lot of games that they do as far as sports. Got a lot of little arcade games and things like that. But I believe last year, when UFC 4 dropped, it was like one of the best-selling games as far as sports. Yes. So that's pretty crazy to think about. So the community and the people that want to buy the game is there. It's just I don't think they realize that, and I don't know what they're thinking. They just focus on other things, and I seriously hope that they change that mindset.
Well, to answer the question, UFC was actually the second highest game ahead of Madden and NHL and all of those games. So when you have a game that is bringing in that kind of revenue and interest, but I think this is the same complaint that the FIFA community has. They're essentially playing the same game for the last 5-6 years. And with FIFA, the problem is now the label. They have to release a game every year, and they've been doing so since FIFA 95. And because of the pressure that comes with delivering the same game, and now they have these cash grabs called FIFA Ultimate Teams. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the other Ultimate Team games that are out there. So they're making tens and thousands of dollars, and they've explicitly said that we are not going to focus on anything else. We want to focus on creating a better experience for players who want to play FIFA Ultimate Teams. So EA has that cash grab mindset. I'm not sure but I don't think that's a viable business strategy in the long run, because ultimately what brings fans to the game is the brand itself. Now, if you have content creators spending $10,000 on making their ultimate teams, you have then for that one creator you have like 7-8,000 people who are probably not going to buy a single update. They just want to play the game, and that's about it for their revenue generation. So you're disenfranchising. For instance, an individual like myself, I've bought every FIFA since FIFA 2000. So it's been like 20 different editions.
Yeah, right.
In fact, 21 different editions. I've been playing this game for as long as you've been born, honestly. Now, to put that in so just to put things in perspective. Now, for someone like me, by the way, good defense. No, I thought I defended that. Let that go. So, just to put things in that light, okay. No denial. Never mind that. So, I'm just failing to understand why EA is not really. Oh shit! I hate this position. But why EA is not really putting in an effort in terms of understanding what the audience is looking into a game? Because I've bought every edition of FIFA, but I have not bought the last two. I've waited on your, what do you call them? EA. I don't even know the name of that subscription.
EA Play.
Yeah, EA Play. I think I only get that subscription, and then I wait for the end of the year till that game gives me what is relevant to me.
And that's the crazy thing. You have people like you who are like die-hard fans of FIFA, and they're gonna buy, games like FIFA, and games like Madden, games like NHL, and obviously, the UFC franchise, and they still give us, crappy products. It just shows you with money, they thrive off of money. As long as they're making money, they really don't care about the fans' input. That's why I think a lot of people, gravitate.
Oh, beautiful. That was beautiful.
I think that's why. I think that's why so many people gravitate towards still seeing it interactive and what they're doing with ESBC, because they have active devs. It's just not devs that are just like sitting there, making the game and not interacting with people. Like, devs take time out of their day and their work to respond to questions and concerns, whether if it's a compliment or a criticism, a hate or anything like that. They take time out of the day to do that. And that's one of the things that really made me want to start making content on that game. Because when I first got into that community and started delving into what the game really was, I asked the dev, a couple of questions, and I asked them like a ton of questions, and they responded to every single one. So when you have a company and a development team like that does things like that, you get more genuine fans, and you build up a fan base. But then once you start to see the money come in, it starts to trickle down because you don't care about the product anymore. And I think that's what's happening with EA now. I really think that's what's happening with them now. They're just starting to trickle down on product. And I think another main thing is they really don't have any competition. I think of a lot of these, game companies, they had a lot of competition. If they had more competition, I think we would get better products. And I hope we do get better products in the future.
Yeah, I really hope so too at that. By the way, since we're discussing games, so you are a content creator, and you spend a decent amount of time invested in sports, in stuff related to combat and all of that. Are there any other games that you play? Do you have interest in any other sports?
Actually, I'm like a gamer. I don't. A lot of people just think I just play UFC 4. I record UFC 4 videos like 2 days out of the week, and after I'm playing other games. I play 2K. I play shooters. I play Apex and Blood Hunt. I really been on Blood Hunt a lot lately.
Is it the one where you can be a vampire?
Yeah, that's that one.
Oh yeah,
it's
okay.
Real fun. I play FIFA. I don't play Ultimate Team because at this point it's pay to win, and I'm not doing that. So I don't play Ultimate Team, but I do play a lot of FIFA.
By the way, if you have FIFA, we can definitely try our hands on it.
Oh yeah, for sure. In the future, we could definitely, play some FIFA. I'll be down for that. But I play a lot of other games. And I think that's what a lot of content creators. I played other games with Pride. I'm sure I've seen Romero play other games. Darkside, he's another avid gamer. A lot of us content creators and people in the community, we just don't play UFC 4. You know, obviously when you get to an event like ESFL Vegas, you know, a lot of those games get put on a back burner because you know you're playing for money, so you want to, you know, make sure your skills are up to par in that game that you're playing for money for. But you know, with gamers at the end of the day, we're not gonna put this much time and effort into, you know, just one single game. You know, if we haven't played, you know, other games. You know what I mean? You just don't. You'd be like, all right, I wanna be a gamer today, and I'm gonna put all my time and effort into this one. I honestly, I don't think that happens if you're not like a true. If you haven't played at least one game that you've put a ton of effort into. So I don't know, man. Hopefully, you know, more good games come out because this year is really been like not that great for gaming. I see Hogwarts Legacy is coming out. That's pretty much that's probably like my game of the year. That's on my legacy. I mean, it's on my wish list. And Gotham Knights. That's another game that I'm looking at because I'm like a comic book nerd. I'm a Batman nerd. So seeing a game like that come out, you know, I'm really interested in seeing that. But yeah, man, next year, 2023, is probably going to be one of the biggest years for gaming in a while. Obviously, every time a GTA game comes out, like that year, it's pretty much always a big year for gaming. But this is probably, since I can remember, this is probably going to be the biggest year for gaming because you got a lot of great games coming out. You got, you know, Wolverine, the Wolverine game coming. You got, you know, the sequel to the Spider-Man game on PlayStation. You got God of War
Ragnarok.
The Thor, right, Thor. Yeah, basically, you know, that game's coming out. So you got a lot of games coming out that fans want. Also, you got that, you know, you got this zombie game that's gonna be coming out on a Unreal Engine 5. So you got a lot of, you know, good games coming out. And I just hope people realize, you know, there's more games out there than FIFA and things like that.
Of course. And you know, I've started exploring more games. So back in the day, I would play. In fact, I think there's not a genre that I've not tried my hands on, but I think there's this game called XCOM which was free on. I think it's Epic Games. So it was free on Epic Games. I just finished that one. I'm playing Eleanor these days. It's a crime detective game. It's surprisingly fun.
That, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun
yeah.
though. So I just got myself like an RTX 3050. So I'm just trying my hands on as many games as possible these days.
Yeah, once you, I say that a lot because when I first started off, I think I had like 2030. I have a 3080 now. Once you like get that first big upgrade to a graphics card, it's just like your eyes just start like to widen. You know, you're able to
you start seeing potential of what could happen and what's out there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh man, I can actually play this game on this graphics card now. But yeah, man, I just hope, you know, as gaming, you know, continues to, you know, develop and grow, I just hope people just stop sticking to one game because there's a lot of people out there that just only play one game or one genre of game. You know, they only play sports games or they only play shooters or they only play story mode based games or stealth games. Stealth games are actually my favorite type of games, like Hitman and Splinter Cell. Those are like, those are like my favorite games.
Amazing. I've actually played the first two. I have not played 3 yet, but I hope I get my hands on it soon.
I actually just finished 3 before I went on this Vegas trip because I didn't get my hands on it when it came out because I was just like, that's when like I first started YouTube, so I was just like solely focused on that. I didn't care about anything else but making content, but I finally got around to playing it and like my mind was just like blown. But like with the Hitman games, and a lot of stealth games, they have a lot of replay ability because there's a lot of things you learn about the game through the first playthrough. You're like, all right, let me test my hand this time and see if I can clear this level even, you know, better. That's what I like about stealth games a lot. But like I was saying, that's why I hope a lot of people, you know, they just gotta get out of that mindset of, you know, I just want to stick to one game.
Yeah. By the way, have you tried your hands on Metal Gear Solid?
I actually have. The last one I played was Phantom Pain. I believe that. Yeah, I believe that's actually the last one. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really like it that much. If I'm being honest, I really didn't like it.
It had that weird supernatural elements in it, I think.
Yeah, that's what that. Yeah, I really didn't like that. I was like, it was okay, but like Metal Gear Solid 3 and Metal Gear Solid 2, those are like my favorite. That's honestly in my top 5 favorite games ever. I love those 2 games so much. I'm actually trying to get my hands on a PS2 right now. Actually, I'm tired of the emulator. I can't do it on my PC. It's not like I can't run it. I just don't. I don't like running it on my PC. I'd just rather have like the nostalgia feel of actually playing on a PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1. So I'm actually trying to get my hands on like a PlayStation 2 so I can play some of these retro games.
But how
yeah,
much
man.
can you
Right
get one
now, I'm
for?
having fun. Right now, I've been looking. Honestly, it's not too bad. I saw one for like 205
Really? I think
USD. So yeah, so it's not that bad. I know obviously I've seen some that are like 300 and 400.
by this, so my country economically is not doing that great. So guess how much did I get my my PS4 Pro for? Like now, just before the dollar depreciated, how much do you think I got my PS4 for?
PS4, a PS4 Pro.
Pro, yeah.
All right, probably like a good 450 USD.
You know, I bought it for 44,000 rupees, which now roughly translates to less than $150.
Really?
Yeah, but honestly, you cannot get it for that now. Like it's probably going to set you back around 300 now.
Oh wow.
But you cannot.
That's a little bit.
Yeah.
That's crazy though. That's honestly pretty crazy thinking about that.
See, economics works weird around the world. So in Pakistan, there's not a lot of demand for PlayStation 5 right now. So the prices have started dropping. However, if you talk about UFC, your PS4s, by the way, I can sell my console right now for $200 if I want to. I'll still make like a $60 profit. And I've been playing this for the last 5 years now.
Jeez, bro, that's pretty. That's honestly like shocking, honestly. And I pray if you tell somebody else that's like outside of like where you at, a lot of people are gonna be like surprised, like really, like what? Like, huh? Wait, really? You know, you're gonna get that reaction online. But that's pretty crazy though. I never thought about gaming experiences like other people in other countries. Actually never really thought about that until now.
Yeah, so you know, it's funny that you mentioned that because there's this narrative that I like to tell anyone that I've had on GameKheyl interviews, especially anyone who is trying to figure out what the Pakistani scene is. And I think I think this was a conversation that I was having with you the other day about the Pakistani guys now finally coming to the fold in games like Tekken and all of those. So so this guy Arslan, who is perhaps the best Pakistani player there is in Tekken, all of a sudden he goes to this tournament called GameKheyl, which is a pretty big tournament. I think either in Florida or perhaps in Texas. I'm not sure where it was, but he went there, and this time around he also competed in Street Fighter. In King of Fighters. So now he's competing in 2 games. No Pakistani player ever has participated in a tournament of King of Fighters. He goes there and plays this game for the first time and gets the 3rd position. And he wins the Tekken tournament. So he is competing in 2 games simultaneously against the best players in the world, and he is screaming them. And again, like for a game that he's only played like 2-3 years now, he is. I think he's a generational talent, honestly. I don't think there's anyone else that has come across to me like that. So I hope we get
a lot of. There's a lot of people like that who are just like natural gamers. Like they could just get like the meta and like, you know, what to do and not to do in the game. That's actually a guy in the ESBC community, Boxer Fanatico. He's like that. I played Multiverses. Have you heard of like the Multiverses game where like you could do like, you know, Scooby Doo versus like Batman and stuff. It's like Smash Bros, but like those type of characters. And I played against him. And like the first game, like I won. Then like the second game, it was a little bit closer, and then like the third game, he just like completely. I think I didn't even get like 50 damage off. I usually do like 100 plus every game. Now I couldn't even get 50. Because like some people, they like, and it is very rare. It's not like a lot of people are like this.
Yeah,
like, they just pick up on games like they can just pick up a game they've never played and, you know, be real good at it. And that's crazy, you know.
And we're talking about video games here. I think one of the best examples is teach someone how to play chess. And sometimes they will whoop your ass even though they're playing for like the second or third time. Because I think for a lot of people, strategy comes to them naturally, and it's just about connecting those dots. So there's another game that I like to play a lot, Dota. And a lot of concepts of, let's say, FIFA or UFC come into play in that game, because when you realize you have that gap in stamina or in damage, you know that that's your clutch moment, and that attention to detail, it transcends whatever game you're trying to play. So I think and this is something that I think some researchers, if you're listening to this, you may want to dive in, and that is, how do these high performing, highly functioning individuals, how do their brains work? Because I think, because I am absolutely unable to relate to what they do. It's so I would like to understand how they do it. And when you ask them, they're like, you just gave me the instructions, I just followed your instructions, and that's it. And to me, that's crazy. And with Arslan, I think one of the best things is he's one of the most humble people you'll ever come across. So we tried to do this GameKheyl meetup in Lahore, one of the cities in Pakistan where Arslan and the other gamers live. And I just sent him a message. He has like thousands, hundreds and thousands of followers on his Twitter. And he replied to me, he's like, I'm traveling to US, but if I was in Karachi, I would definitely meet you. Just drop me your number and I'll get in touch with you. We'll definitely meet up. So I was like, he didn't have to do that, because in Pakistan, he's like a rock star. So there's 150, there's over 200 million people living in my country. And he is like the only gamer in focus right now. So you can imagine the hype that he has.
Yeah, he's pretty much like a huge like thing down there.
So basically, that's I think the best way for me to describe him is MJ and LeBron rolled into one.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yep.
Wow, man, that's crazy. I hope so there's this guy in the UFC 4 community. His name is VRDiablo. He's pretty much like blown up. He's on I think he let me check right now. The last time I checked, he had like 88,000 subscribers, if I'm not wrong. He's now at 91.3K, so he's about to hit 100K.
Oh, wow.
And he just started in December.
That's
so he started
insane.
in December, and he's about to hit 100K. So while the community is small, to like a community like UFC 4, it's like super small to growing. I just hope like we get more creators so we can get more eyes on the game, because there is something that when I interviewed Boxing Fanatico, and he mentioned something that I pretty much I think I agree with. Not that I think I agree with, but I do agree with, is that the more creators and the more eyes that you get on the game, the more buzz you can build on that game, and the more fans you can draw in, which obviously pours in more money for the game, and obviously companies want to put more effort into the game because they have more fans and things like that. So again, like I mentioned earlier, man, I just hope the dang on troll. I hope it's probably never gonna stop in any game community, because UFC 4, the UFC 4 community isn't the only community that's like toxic. The COD community is notorious for being toxic.
That's true.
Madden has this toxic. I've even heard Mortal Kombat at times is toxic. So every competitive game where you have some sort of like online play, is gonna be toxic. But I just hope a lot of these guys realize that some games can be even bigger. Even COD can probably be even bigger than it is, honestly. But I know a few people who are like, I don't want to play COD because it's toxic. I don't like being a part of toxic communities. I know people who don't play Mortal Kombat or who don't play Rainbow Six Siege because the game is the community is toxic. So that's potential fans, and future competitors and gamers who can be in a community, but they don't want to join the community because it's toxic. So I just hope the toxicity. I hope it dies down throughout all games.
By the way, not to brag, but Robert Whittaker is my meta when I play UFC 4.
Oh, is your much? Honestly, at that ESFL event, more people use. I heard Brian Romero, mentioned it when we were all talking, that Izzy actually, felt way more usable, on land, offline than he actually does online. I really didn't see too many, Robert Wood from what I can remember. I could be like 100% wrong. But like I don't, I remember more people going for Izzy more than Whitaker. I think I saw a gas. I think Jamie picked Gastelum.
Yeah.
So was it Romero?
No, I think it was Bry. I think Bry picked him.
Yeah. So like somebody picked Romero, Gastelum. So it's like these land events, bro. Like I think when I asked a lot of the competitors how it feels, they were like, bro, it feels way more responsive and smoother than online would. So.
Yeah,
I just hope we get more events like this because we can truly see who's good at the game, and then we can truly see who's not good at the game due to, the connection and fighter picks and things like that.
And I think for a lot of people who abuse their connections, they got found out as well. I'm not going to name names, but it was good to see that the competitors who came out and performed were able to kind of put their reputations on the line. And again, I think it takes a lot of courage to do that. Because you would not want to travel all the way, spend all that money, and come away with nothing but a damaged reputation at the end of the day.
Right. And I think something Jamie mentioned, basically, even though Jamie lost, he came away with $1,000.
Yeah.
So pretty much, I believe he said whatever he spent on the trip, he pretty much earned back. Pretty much, he got a free trip to Vegas, honestly, if you really think about it in retrospect. So, honestly, and Zayev being called the ping merchant. That honestly, I never. When me and Zayev had our little thing going on, honestly, I didn't even like when people were doing that because it was like, I really don't agree with that, And then he comes out in the ESFL, live thing, and in the Swiss tournament, so like the placement tournament, he went 6-0.
Yeah.
He 2-0 Romero to start it off. He 2-0 Romero. He 2-0 a lot of people. He beat every single person he fought in that Swiss tournament. So like you gotta stop. I just hope they do another one in the UK because I kind of do feel bad for the guys who couldn't fly over from the UK to the US. So I do hope they do one in the UK. I will be in the UK. I would definitely make that flight over. I hope they do one in the UK because I feel like
even if not in the UK, maybe somewhere in Europe where it's accessible for everyone. Like you can do it. You can do one in France or anywhere else. Like there's a good community in Belgium.
Yeah, because I feel like there's a lot. I feel like there's a little bit more, competitive talent over there in Europe. You got people like, you got the Ed Parkers. You got, Skitch. I don't know if a lot of people know who Skitch is. But Skitch is pretty good. Jimmy Slick. You got a lot of these guys. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. If I forget you, I'm sorry. You got, Jamie and all these other guys. You got Keza Lee. Oh, and I don't think his name is Keza, but he knows who I'm talking about. All these guys who are in Europe and the UK and Ireland and all these other countries, in continents. If we can find like a neutral spot to where they can meet up, to just fight to see who's the best, that would be pretty cool. Man, Nick Diaz was a horrible pick. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Nick in this game.
Nick, you see that, Nick, I feel like, and I hope they fix this in UFC 5, like a lot of the stats really don't mean anything, like takedown defense in particular, it doesn't mean anything. Yep. So I hope stats, I hope they play like a big part in, the next game.
Or at least if someone has a 80 defense, then someone who has 100 offense, it should be the deciding factor. That takedown needs to happen if you have better stats.
Right, exactly.
So,
but is that it? Everything you want? I think we covered everything, man.
Yeah, I think we covered pretty much everything that there is. I would probably do one more fight with you, and I think for that I have a rapid fire for you. So the way rapid fire works is I'm going to name a few names, and the first thing that comes to your mind, you have to say it out loud. You will only have I think maximum of 5 words to explain that thing or that person or whatever that I mentioned. So no more than 5 words. Try to keep it as brief as possible. And as soon as you end the answer, I will try to give you another cue. So as soon as we start the next game, we can definitely get that done.
Okay, that's cool. I think we can do that.
Yeah, and by the way, we've been at it for an hour 24 minutes. Also, I have a 4-3 lead on you, which is insane because I don't play this.
Bro, it feels like we've been playing for 3 hours. I'm not gonna lie. It always, every time I do like interviews, whether I'm the one getting interviewed or I'm interviewing people, it always feels longer than what it really is. Every time I look down at my OBS recording. When I interviewed Goat, it felt like we were interviewing for like 2 hours, but it was like 30 minutes. So man, it's just crazy.
All right, and I think I have a different view to that. I think for me, if the interview is fun and engaging and there's a lot to ponder upon, like I understand the first question feels like a very long time ago, but I think the time itself has kind of flown by. In all honesty.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
All right, so I think I have a few things and names in mind. So let's start off with ESFL Live,
Amazing.
Z Hunter,
Boss, great guy,
Naz,
pussy,
uh, Young Po,
police.
is it the one from the? Sorry, just to prolong that, are you going to continue with that with the NWA song? F the police? I don't know. Never mind.
No, go. You go to. You can go to.
No, by the way, he is also like a Pakistani, so I'm not going to shit on him, but and he's been nice to me, so yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, Pry,
Brother.
Marshall,
Yeah, inspiration.
okay, a name that hasn't been mentioned today, Ricky J.
Oh man, Ricky. Oh wow. Funny impersonations. Yeah, yeah.
I agree with that. Big shout out to him. Hopefully, we've been trying to get him here at GameKheyl. There is a bit of a hindrance with how we want to do it, but hopefully we get that sorted. All right, so boxing fanatical.
Oh man,
Sorry, boxer fanatical. My bad.
he's gonna. This is a little inside joke. He's gonna get this one. Maybe Juice. Everybody in the community should get this one. Tension. Yeah.
All right. Boiler.
Boiler. Ooh, boiler. Oh man, I don't. Oh man, that's a good one. Boiler. I'm gonna go boss. Streamer and outgoing. Yeah, I like that.
All right. Zayaf.
Zayev. Ooh. Competitive.
I think
Yeah,
that's pretty apt.
Yeah. 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 Zayev. In that event, I can like see like when Zayev, I believe when he lost, it was either Romero or Dad. He was like real down on himself. And like when I was talking to him, I was like, bro, you don't, obviously at that age, like when you're fighting at such a big event, like a loss is gonna be like, times 1,000 to like someone like me or someone older. But like I was like talking to him, whatever. He was like, bro, to go 6-0 in a tournament, bro, against this competition, bro, like that's a win. But he was like, it's not a win. I should be like in the fight. Pretty much to summarize what he said, he was like, I should be, in the finals. I wanted, he wanted to win the whole thing. That's the, vibe and the aura he gave off. So yeah, competitive like fits him perfectly.
Suave Jamie.
Swap Jamie, ooh, Conor McGregor. Literally, I was when we first met up. This is a short story. I just heard someone say Jay in like a big Irish accent, and I immediately knew it was Jamie. Like his accent, like that accent is just so recognizable.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Romero.
Romero, ooh, good one. I'd say inspiration as well. I'd say Big Brother. And competitive. He's gonna, competitive.
I like the answer there. I had a few other names in mind. Let me recall them real quick. In the meanwhile, I like your John Jones, by the way.
Thank you.
But right now, you're fighting my main in this division. Even before he became a champion, I used to use Glover.
Yeah, you used to use Glover. Oh wow, that's crazy.
And you know why? Because he's not great at one thing, but he's good at everything.
Yeah, Glover is great. Me personally, I don't like the way Glover like his footwork. I think he's just like super flat-footed. I don't know why he just feels like super flat-footed. But when I do play Glover and I wrestle with him, bro, it feels like honestly, I feel like his wrestling is like his transitions are a little bit smoother than John's on the ground.
And also he hits like a truck. Like in this game, I'm not sure if that's the case in real life, but he hits. He packs a punch. Like if you give me an opening, I can probably drop you, even with a Jones.
Yeah, he has that old man strength. So
oh yeah, you have that, and he has those old man lungs right now. Oh shit. Well, all right. I think I have a few things in mind now. UFC 4.
Shit. Awful.
YouTube.
YouTube. I just think of content creation.
Community. UFC 4.
Toxic, but has potential. Oh, is that 5 words?
Toxic, but has potential. 5 words. Exactly 5 words.
Yeah, that's 5. That's exactly 5.
ESBC.
Potential. Needs work.
Steel Town Interactive.
Great company.
Oops. All right, my favorite one. Fast food or Mexican food?
No, it's crazy. I had the best Mexican food I had in my life. This is like real hard. I'm gonna go Mexican food.
All right, pizzas or burgers?
Oh, easy pizza.
Cosplay or books?
Cosplay.
Anime or cartoons? Oh man, that's hard.
Cause I love both. I'm gonna go anime.
All right, anime or manga?
Anime. Oh yeah.
All right, since you're in anime, I'm not sure if you've seen this. Naruto or One Piece?
Honestly, that's pretty hard.
Have you've seen both?
Yeah, I've seen both.
Oh, perfect.
I'm gonna go Naruto.
All right.
Only because of Shippuden. If I didn't see Shippuden, I would
have you seen Boruto?
I'm in the middle of watching it. Honestly,
Really?
I didn't even know that was a Boruto.
Really?
Yeah, one of my friends was like, "Have you ever even seen Boruto?" I was like, "What is that? Is that like an inside joke or something?" Like, he sent me like an actual like picture of the episode from like in the middle of an episode. I was like, "Oh man, hold on! I didn't even know this was a thing."
Oh wow! And this is like how far off watching Shippuden?
Seen Shippuden last January. I finished it last January, so yeah. So about a year.
By the way, funny story about Naruto. So I've seen the whole show, like all the episodes with the fillers and the canon. And then after my marriage, my wife got interested in it, and I watched the whole thing with her again, like the whole thing.
Man, the filler in Naruto is like, oh my goodness! I almost gave up on watching that because I was like, man, this filler is just like pointless.
You know, they feel pointless, but the problem is they're written so well. Like I did this thing instead of watching the whole episode. I would pick up a specific moment that I wanted to know about, like an insight about a character, and I would watch it on YouTube. So I think that saved me a lot of time.
Honestly, I think Bleach.
Oh,
because I'm like a Bleach fan.
Oh, Bleach is awesome.
Bleach has probably some of the best filler episodes I've seen. It's like you can't like if you like in some animes you can kind of like you know like skim through the fillers and you won't miss anything. But I feel like with Bleach, you kind of gotta watch at least almost all of the fillers just so like you can catch up on everything so you can stay tag with it.
By the way, are you excited for the Thousand Year War arc, the one that's coming up?
Oh man, bro, they've been teasing it. I saw that they announced it not too long ago.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
It's coming in September, I
need
guess.
that now. Yeah, I need that like now.
By the way,
'Cause
have you? Sorry.
I've been watching Attack on Titan.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to ask you
Yeah.
next.
Yeah, I just got it onto Attack on Titan. I'm not gonna lie, because I saw someone tweet about it, and I was like, what is Attack on Titan? It's like I've heard of it, but I was like, is this like a what? So like I just started watching it, and like I'm hooked now.
Oh.
I'm like super.
So how many episodes have you seen?
I've seen. Ooh, that's a good question. Probably like 3 or 4 episodes so far.
Really?
Because I'm not.
You
like,
know
I'm not that deep.
your world's going to turn upside down, because the way this show works is the narrative right now is humans versus monsters, and then this show will take. Like, this show has so many twists and turns. Like, this is ideally, like, I've read the manga, so I know how it ends as well. This is how I think Game of Thrones should have ended, the way the show ends. And have you seen Game of Thrones?
Yeah, I've seen it.
So
Game of Thrones ended on such like a sour note. I didn't like it.
yeah, I'm actually waiting for the book to come out so I can get my real closure. But when you watch this show, you'll realize what I'm talking about. And once you watch the whole thing, when you watch Attack on Titan, you let me know what you think, if you agree with that statement or not.
Okay. We'll see that. We'll see that.
All right. So I think I have one final question with regards to this. John Jones or Prime Anderson Silva?
John Jones. That's literally no question. I'm the biggest John Jones fan. If you could ask me like John Jones over like pizza, I'm picking John Jones like every time. Like, John Jones better.
All right, I think that's pretty much what I wanted to ask. We covered a lot of different things. I thought this was not going to be a very long stream, but surprisingly, we did talk a lot. And right now, we had drawn 4 to 4. So I think we need a finale whenever we can. But
Yes,
I think that needs a bigger platform than this. But whenever that happens, it's going to be fun. And I'm very glad, because I think it took us less than a day to set this up. So I'm glad that you were able to do this, considering that you've become a busier man than we remember. So I like that. But I'm also happy with the fact, and this is something I want to put on the record, that despite the fact that everything that you're doing, you're one of the most appreciative people out there, especially when it comes to GameKheyl. You've also been a participant in a few of our online tournaments. So I really appreciate you taking out the time and doing that when you really don't have to. So I'm really happy with that.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Appreciate you for contacting me. When I saw your DM, I was literally like at the airport,
Mm.
I was like super tired. I was like, I'm gonna respond when I get off. And like the minute I got off my flight, I'm like, all right, let me respond to Kale. Let me see what Kale said. So yeah, man. Anytime a tournament or something comes up, and I'm doing absolutely nothing. You already know I'm gonna be there, man.
No, I'm really thankful for that. And also, the plan is, again, to do more of these game style interviews. And also, we are working on this new concept called GameKheyl and Friends. So maybe if you have like 3 or 4 content creators like yourself, we can do very different games like Jackbox Party Pack or maybe Among Us. So just to get into that zone. So that's something that I'm willing to explore. And if there are people like yourself who are willing and able, all you have to do is reach out, and we can get that set up as quickly as possible. So if there's anyone listening to this, we can definitely have that hooked up. But as for now, this is Naveed and Jay MMA signing off. See you guys real soon with another guest. Peace.